Welcome to the Weekly Pistol Podcast. At the end of this hour, we want you better than when we started.
Sit your ass
All
down.
right, what's good? What's good? Don't do it again from the... I had to give you fair warning.
Oh.
Yeah, we're on now.
We're on. All right, we're back. I'm Manny.
I'm Mark.
I'm Tony.
Veronica.
And what are you fucking laughing about? You know what's coming up.
Okay.
All right, so listen, I had an idea today. And I think we talked about it before. I don't remember we talked about it in a previous podcast or I talked to somebody else about it. But I'm thinking that when we reach 500 followers, if we get 500 followers, we will go out and we will do our POPAT again.
What?
The physical agility to get higher. Now, mind you,
Jesus.
we're also going to have Tony
This is not
do
a
what
good idea.
Yeah, what he did when he got hired.
Oh, shit.
Right? So I'm not going to, I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there. So I'm thinking, so my brother's a nurse, and he said that he would be out there with oxygen if we needed that.
I was going to say, we're
I'd have
going
to
to
run
need
with
that.
the oxygen.
So.
I don't remember what's on the test. Bro.
So if I remember
Don't
correctly, it's a 500-yard run. It's a 6-foot block wall jump, a chain link fence, a dummy drag, and
mile and a half.
no, not a mile and a half. There was something else.
I'll
thought
do
it was a mile
that.
and a half.
No,
Got a
no.
mile and a half run.
Was it a mile and a half run?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, mile and a half run. We'll just say it was all that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
No, it's some push-up stuff too, wasn't it?
I thought.
I don't remember.
God damn, there's a lot of
There's
shit.
a lot. There's like
Push-ups,
the vertical
sit-ups.
jumps. There's a bunch of.
It's like,
I don't
oh,
remember
shit, you
vertical
had to be
jump.
kind of fit to be a police
Yeah.
officer.
So look,
Yeah.
I will get each of our respective departments.
Okay. And I'm
Physical.
not signing off on this.
No.
Just
Yeah,
to let
like,
you know.
are we going to have
Get the
waivers?
information first.
I'm just gonna have you bleep
Well-
in like my academy recording.
Take a vote. Yeah. I was best in physical fitness in my class. I'm ashamed to go on now.
Well,
I'm not gonna
As long
ruin
as
that.
as
I don't
long
know
as I
that
get
it's
those
safe anymore.
those
little
blue
biker.
shorts, I'm totally fine with this.
Yeah,
you have to
well,
wear a white shirt with
T-shirt with
her.
our
Yeah,
names
yeah.
tattooed on the back.
Exactly.
Recruit.
All cheesy.
We're doing the whole thing, man. The
Oh
whole
my
rigmarole.
gosh.
And I'm just saying, Mark, I know you were top of your class, but look at who your class is now. You still might be.
Yeah, I
Think
mean-
about it, you might.
Not this guy. Look at him.
He just looks okay.
Yeah,
He's
it's-
mentally,
He's 30
he's
years
fucked up.
younger than me.
It's
too.
all
That-
superficial.
Yeah.
30 years younger. That's the difference.
So I think we should do that. If we get 500 followers, we'll get cameras out there.
Fuck.
I'll even wear the GoPro on my head while I run.
Oh my gosh.
All you're gonna see is the sky when I fucking collapse.
We'll just see like a crawling view.
Yeah, it's gonna be
The
grand.
The turtle.
And we won't even. And we'll try to do time, but I don't.
Maybe
know.
not time.
I think it'll be fun. I'm glad you guys are
Time-
all part
time
of it.
And
lapse,
we're also
maybe.
only gonna do like snippets.
Yeah,
of
like
each.
time lapse. That's
No.
what we'll
Yeah.
do.
Like
Let's
actually
just-
only a 20-yard run.
We're
It
gonna-
took 20 hours, but we did it in 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Just get a picture of us crossing the tape.
Yeah.
With our arms up. Yeah.
We did it.
All together.
We
at the
did
same
it.
time.
Hey!
Yeah.
And you're only gonna see us coming over the wall because we're gonna have stairs.
Like
on
the-
the
Yeah,
like-
other
how
side.
many people pushing?
It's like the end of MASH. You know, everybody's like, yeah.
That's gonna be good. Okay, so for this podcast, I was last week. I was out with one of our members. We were hanging out and burning some cigars, having a good time. And he was one of maybe a handful of people that I've met over the last 5 years of doing this. That he said something that was kind of odd to me, and I know he meant it. I don't particularly feel this way, so I called Veronica, and I think I reached out to you, Mark, to run it by you guys. But he looks at me and he's like, I wish I was never a fucking cop. I wish I would have never became a police officer. So the topic today is knowing what you know now, going back, would you do it all over again? And barring the obvious, right? Like, Josh isn't here, but I'm sure Josh, like, I got on the face. Why the fuck would I do that again?
Right.
But you never know with Josh because he wanted to
He
get right
wants
back
to
in
go
the
back.
motherfucker.
Yeah,
So, but so that's one of the, you know, I don't hear it too often. My personal belief is, for me, and my wife doesn't like me to say it, I would do it all over again. All over again. But why don't we? I don't know. Somebody want to go first? Do you have? You guys pointing at each other and shit. Like you're like, hey.
Quick draw. I drew first.
He was
I drew
last
first.
week.
So look, let's do it this way.
I'll go.
No, let's do it this way. Firefighters are always fucking second on scene, so let the
Make 'em
fucking
go
firemen let them go
There you
first.
go. There's no staging.
Yeah, there's no staging
Get
in this
into
one.
it.
Well,
Get
fuck
into
me,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Would I do it over? I thought about this a lot this week. For some reason, I don't know if I don't know. Manny kind of told me what yesterday.
Yeah.
For some reason, it's been in my head all week. So, I've been contemplating on this a lot. And yes, I would do it all over in a heartbeat because I've learned so much and been through so much like life experience in such a short amount of time. I feel I'm 28 years old, and I've seen more than most 67-year-olds have seen. You know.
You're
and-
fucking
and-
28 years old.
Told
Yeah.
you he was a baby.
Yeah.
Motherfucker!
I
I
You
thought
just,
you
you
were in
just
your
stacked me up
30s,
to
like-
run
Yeah.
against this
Oh my
kid.
God.
Yeah, I'm a fucking baby,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm
Holy
saying.
shit.
Like,
I'm 55
Like-
and I got to go run against a 28-year-old.
and
that's fair.
but that's kind of what I'm saying is like I've led myself to this point to where I've gained so much experience, not knowledge, but experience from the shit that I've been dealt, you know. And it's I'm fucking thankful for it. I really am. Like I've learned so much, and it's led me here, and I'm doing what I want to do. You know, I finally found myself. I talked to my mom yesterday, and I was like, Mom, I'm happy doing everything I'm doing right now. Like, I worked 7 days a week, but I don't feel like I work 7 days a week. You know, so I don't know. I'm just very happy and feeling content, I guess.
So you kind of feel like you're where you are because of the
Oh,
path you've taken.
Yeah, no, and I'm a very spiritual person because of that. I think, for instance, I'll give you a little story. When I got PTSD, I immediately wanted to move, you know, and like I was like, I want to get the fuck out of here, you know, as soon as possible.
Run.
So
Run.
I actually got back together with my fiance that we had broke up. Got back together. She wanted to do some traveling nursing, so I was like, "Oh fuck yeah, I'm gonna jump on and go with you," you know. So we went to San Antonio. Well, here's the thing: like, I sold my house. I had a 3-bedroom, 3-bath house, and I sold that fucker in literally a week and a half. You know, shit like that happens. You know, shit falls into place
Right.
when it does. For instance, when I got my tiny house, same thing. Like, you know, it was built in 3 months. And then somehow some dude was like, "Hey, I'll take it out to Oregon for you for like $1,000." I was like, "Are you kidding me?" You know, like shit like that is what I'm very, very thankful for. Just the general human kindness, I think, that
So-
you get to experience.
So going back, when you were that booter in the academy,
Yeah.
if they would have told you exactly what would have unplayed, I think I know the answer, but I'll ask you anyways. Would you do it again?
So yeah, I mean, they kind of predisposed us to it. I'm not gonna lie. The first day of the academy, they sat us down, and making fun of all you cops. It was a guy that literally got patted down, thrown in the back of a cop car, thrown into an interrogation room, and the motherfucker is sitting there like rocking back and forth and grabs into his shorts, pulls out a 45 and caps himself in the face. And like that's the first thing you see as you know, as the first day of the academy, and you're just like, whoa, fuck, holy shit. But I think that's it's kind of going back to your point. Yeah, might do it again in a heartbeat. You know, you see a lot of shit, but you also are there on the best fucking day of people's lives. You all
Right.
know that too. So
So no hesitation. If you got a call to go back, you'd go back.
now in my mind state now, no, I'd be a weak link and I wouldn't be able to deal
Right.
with it. But in the state of mind that I was, yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
No doubt.
I'd do it.
I dig it. All right, Veronica,
Yes.
didn't even hesitate.
Yeah, no, I would do it all over again. You know, when I first got PTSD and I was really sick for a couple good solid 2 or 3 years, like I wanted nothing to do with it. Like I hated every choice I had made in life that led me to that. I was just like, this has ruined my life. So I wanted nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Once I got better, then I was like, oh, I really miss being a cop. Like, I really enjoyed going out. I mean, I didn't enjoy the mundaneness of some of the calls that we got, but I really thoroughly enjoyed the environment I was in, the family there that I had, and the quality work that I did, right? Like, not like I said, the mundane stuff I don't miss doing those things, but I definitely miss just in general.
Yeah.
So all the stuff that came after the PTSD, knowing all that, you would go back and do it all over again.
Yeah,
Yeah?
I think I would.
It's the greatest show on earth, man.
It really is, and
There's
that's
no doubt about it.
That's the thing is, like, you're never gonna get a high like that.
Never.
Like,
Mm-mm.
There's nothing.
seriously,
Nothing.
I mean, I
There's
remember.
no thing in the world like.
I
doing
remember
that.
on the first day of the fire truck, sitting in the back of the fire truck, like, oh my
Why
god,
why does he have to stand up?
I am on a
Tell him
fucking.
to sit down. Aren't you the zookeeper of the zoo?
Hey, I'm stretching out my
He's
hip
excited.
flexors right now.
Okay, man.
He's excited.
Sit
Leave him
down,
alone.
fool.
Hey, flip to the Tuesdays with
You know,
Tony.
yeah.
We'll
you-
explain there.
You know what's funny though is that I agree with Tony. Like, I remember the first time that I was allowed to drive, because just like everyone else, the first week you sit shotgun and you can't get.
Fucker.
Yeah, you can't get.
I ruined it.
You can't get. You don't drive. You don't do anything. But that first day that the FTO handed me the keys,
Yes.
and he's like, "Hey, you're driving today."
You're like, what?
Oh man, I was like, it's no shit, man. Like, I was driving down the street and I wanted I wanted to stop and tell people,
Yeah.
"Hey, you know I'm a cop?
It's like, hey,
I'm the
Yeah.
cop."
do you see this
Yeah.
motherfucker?
Yeah.
Like-
And back then, the whole social media platform was completely
gone.
different,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I could.
there,
It wasn't like I could snap a picture and post it on, like, hey, look at this guy. But man, I thought, like, I was waiting. Like, I would
That
drive.
happens every day now, by
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable though. Ugh. But I was driving around, like, I'd show up at a stoplight, right? Cars pull up next to me. I'm like, I'm a cop, I'm a cop.
Yeah, like,
I'm about to go this way.
You give
I'm
him
a
the-
cop.
Yeah, I used to think that way too, until one day, and I used to think everybody thought that of me too. that
Right.
until it all
This,
changed.
this guy over here in his car next to me, he knows what's up. He knows. Hey, pulling into this call. Hey, everybody, you know who's here now? And then one day I went into a call with that mentality, and it was a loud noise call, but it was like a massive gang party.
Yeah.
And they all started saying, and I like pushed open these gates, And I'm like, I'm gonna clear these people out of here, folks. You're being too loud. And they're like, everybody's like, bandanas down, man. They're like, they all started marching at me at the same time, and and Sal saying the same thing, Bueno.
Bueno.
And I was like, I don't know what that means, but it's probably not. We're cool. We're glad that you're a cop.
I'm
That's
gonna
not what it
take.
meant.
I'm gonna take 2 steps back.
Yeah,
take
man.
3 back.
Give me 3 steps towards the door.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude! I was like, all right, you're gonna learn. You better start talking right now. And
Yeah,
then
that was, and I would
Like
drive,
flipping
I
man.
started
your
doing
phone.
this. I was like, well.
Yeah, you're like
And they
you're
all
like
started
flipping.
laughing.
flipping
That's
through
actually
your-
what saved me from them just beating me down. I'm
That's
pretty
awesome.
sure. Yeah.
That was, and I would drive around, and like, you'd show up, and people look at you too long. You're like, you need help? You need help? Let me. I'm help.
Yeah.
I'm help.
911.
Right?
You'll get me.
I'm right here. Right?
I used to joke about that too. I'd say, hey, and you're out somewhere, and they say, okay, what's your information? What's your work number? I'd say 911.
No.
They're like, huh? I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. When you call
You
911,
you all
I'm
were
on
the
the phone.
guys I made fun of.
I know.
This
I
motherfucker.
had a problem, man. I had a problem.
He's at a
Uh,
bar. He's all, hey, you call
Pick it up
911. You get me.
And all that, like
Call
that
911,
smooth
make
R.
a
Kelly
cop call.
voice.
You know what though? It had to be even better for Veronica
It's terrible.
if she's out and about and a guy's like, hey, if you need me, baby, call
I got that all
911
the
is me.
time.
What do you tell
I
him?
used to get, I would just laugh at him.
You'd
'cause
be
that's
like-
what else are you gonna say, right?
Yeah.
Like
It-
I couldn't get offended. And
If
so
only you knew,
I used
sir.
to have that stupid song. What is that? Police officer. Oh, Mrs. Officer.
Mrs.
or whatever.
Officer.
I would pull up roll up and people would turn that on loud, and I'd be like, awesome.
That's awesome.
That's
What's up, TJ Hooker? That's great.
You know what was funny is my partners used to get so mad. I had one particular friend who every time we would go somewhere and the guys would be like, "Hey, take me to jail. You want to handcuff me?" and my friends would be like,
God,
"You
dude,
can't talk to her like that. She's a police officer. You cannot be disrespectful."
Respect my authority.
And I would just laugh because I'm like,
You're not the boss of me.
Yeah.
I do what I want.
You ever get those cheesy pickup lines at the bar while you were a cop?
which
Like, you should be called citation because you got fine written all over you.
Shit.
Or hey, you want to come play with my nightstick?
Yeah.
You guys are lame now. Who says that stuff?
That you do, Mark. Call 911. You get me.
There's a different thing I said behind that, but
Yeah,
that's all right.
these are the fun shit that we miss that we
Yeah.
don't get anymore. Like those people. Like one time, my wife goes out with her friends on girls' night or whatever. And she's like, "Hey, Officer so and so," and I was like, "Yeah, he's on our SWAT team." And she's like, "Yeah, I know. He told me 6 times while we were at the bar." And I was like, "What the fuck? What?" She's like, "I told him after he like." Because I would always tell my wife, I'm like, hey, if they're buying you drinks, I don't have to fucking buy them. Let them fucking buy them.
Yeah.
Right? You're not going home with them. We know the end result.
Free.
Right. Fuck. Just wink at them. Get a couple extra ones for the
Yeah.
girls. I don't know.
That's funny.
Give a little.
Yeah, and she's like, yeah, he told me like 6 times he was SWAT team. And I was like, our SWAT team doesn't do shit. Like, it just sounds cool. So
my husband was on the SWAT team,
Oh.
and we did even less
you
in
guys,
Gilbert.
you guys blew up the wrong house. You go to the wrong city and then blow up the wrong house.
Hey.
Yeah.
I think that was one of my cases.
Had a roof on it.
Yeah,
That's
it was
pretty
it was a
cool.
Like,
house.
did
People were
it have a
inside.
front door?
That was
That's
our
all that
intel.
matters.
This is what I'm trying to convey when I brought this topic up. He was so fucking adamant. He was like, I wish I was never caught. Blah, 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 blah. Right? And this is exactly what happened. We started reminiscing.
Mhm.
We started laughing.
Yeah.
He started smiling. I said, hey, bro, there's a glimmer in your eye right now for something you said
You never
you
wanted
wish
to
you would have
do
never
again.
done.
Here's what I want to. Here's when you said that. Here's how I took it, and I would have responded exactly like Veronica said.
Well, respond. How would you?
So here's how my response is this. Would I do that because I loved nothing more than taking a person who was abusing a woman and putting him in a jail cell? Absolutely. And if you want to fight, I'm not going to sit there, And anyway, so, justice being served on people like that, people that were hurting people, stealing stuff, robbing stuff. I love doing that. But my only reservation was and is I would not want to hurt the people in my life and my family like I did because of what I am now.
Right.
And so that I would sit and I'd have to think about it. I would like to do it, and this will sound bad too, but I would like to do it if you say, could you go back and do it again? If I was single, boom,
Yeah.
I'll take it right away. Because I just wouldn't want to hurt everybody like I did.
I think, for me,
From
my
my
answer,
PTSD,
my answer
so.
is the same. Yes, absolutely. But I'm with you, Mark. I would do things just a little different. I would take in the harder calls, and I would share them a lot faster
Yeah.
with my spouse or my friends.
Mm-hmm.
I would absolutely, and I'd say that one got me. I wouldn't try to do it by myself.
Yeah.
And I would sit down and try to figure out mental health a lot better. Because
Yeah.
look, in the academy there were certain things they trained us on. I got 2 hours of training on mental health. But
Yeah.
let me ask you, Mark, so if in the academy, because we all got told the same thing, we might kill somebody,
Right.
right? And every one of us in the academy is like, yeah, that's what we signed up for. Shit, we're going to shoot
Like,
it.
okay.
Right? You shoot at me, I shoot
Him or
at
me.
you. It's him or me. We're good.
Mhm.
And so, aside from the family piece, which I think is universal, and I think that we can all agree on that. Going back to those academy days when you were in there, and they were talking about the threats and the shootings, the taking of the life, does that weigh a lot heavier for you on your decision to do it all over again, or is that just the job that you knew at some point may or may not happen?
The funny thing is you can ask me, is it taking a life that bothers you? Yeah, it does, because this guy, he had kids, He had a family. Yeah, and I just imagine, one day when his mom and dad, the day he was born,
Right.
they had dreams for this kid. And they had a future and happiness and joy. They thought he was going to do anything in the world. So when you think of that and how his life ended, I mean, that's crushing.
Right.
And I don't care who that person is. You can interchange it. That's crushing to have to take a human's life like that. But that doesn't bother me in the sense that I understood, I can logic out of that. He was trying to kill me. He was trying to kill my partners. He would have killed everybody in that neighborhood if he had a chance.
Right.
But what bothers, or not what bothers me, is what I can't understand and what I can't explain, and there's no logic behind, is the nightmare of it.
Right.
And it's like, why can't I control my adrenaline? Why do I wake up from this terrifying experience every day? And there's no logic there.
Right.
I don't care if I had 30 hours of training in the academy. They're not addressing that. So until they do, I look at it this way. Let's say I had a son, and he'd say, Dad, I want to go be a cop. I would say, no way.
Nope.
Listen, everybody just said that. No.
Nope.
We all said no way. So there's the
And
other side of that. There's the other side of that
We all said we
coin.
would do it again.
I know, but there's
we
the
would
other
never
side of that
alone.
coin.
Mhm.
Exactly. So in some level, on some core level, you don't want to experience that again.
But you know what though? On that right there, the only reason I said no to that is the timing. If
Today's cop
today's
is
cop
much
is,
harder.
If
It's
my son
stacked against
yeah,
him, for sure.
if it was 20 years ago
Yeah.
and someone said, I'd be like, fuck yeah.
Mhm.
But the problem is that they're getting shit on, not just cops, firefighters,
Mhm.
right? They're expected to do more with less, a lot less.
A lot less.
And that's the hidden gem that they're turning a gym into, or they're trying to turn a shit pile into a gym.
Right.
And they're saying, come over here and be
They're
cops.
frosting a dog turd.
Right. And they're like putting lipstick on a pig.
yeah.
Right. And you're just, oh no, it's a beautiful woman, but
all these
Come on, with these.
bad. You don't have
I mean,
those?
we can keep going.
Veronica's like, holy shit.
Frosting a dog turd? What? It's still a
Looks like
dog
on a
turd
pig,
inside.
like-
She's like,
inside it's a dog turd.
I ended up in the men's locker room. I don't know how the fuck that happened. So, but yeah, I would definitely, 20 years ago, I would totally now, people call me up and they're like, would you do it? I would. And I know that's hypocritical.
Well, it's not hypocritical because you
No.
have a mission.
Well, and
And
it's
you have-
and
you're
I think we
mission
have,
oriented.
Like, that
We do
experience,
too.
So there's
It's-
already something we
Yeah.
already know what to expect. I think we feel like maybe we would have a better handle on things now or
Yeah.
something, just versus throwing someone who's never done it or someone we
No,
care
someone
about.
care
like
about.
Something
No,
we
I-
care about.
because
I think
would
I think
never-
yes, it's that yes, it's someone that we care about, but it's also selfishly we want to get back into that shit.
Yeah.
Don't lie.
'Cause we love
you know
battle.
that's what
Yeah.
it is.
We
like,
love battling
like
evil.
I would die
Yeah.
to get into one more fucking
Oh my God.
fire, you
Yeah.
know?
It's like another
Like-
slamming of heroin.
Yeah,
Oh my
literally
God,
just
yeah.
crawling through a fucking house when you know that fucker is cooking. You know, like you're just like
He's got
That's
this
not
guy's
my
fucking
dream, but-
twig. Yeah, it doesn't
like
appeal to me.
I'm over here like
Right.
you know, like
I think he's got a heart on.
I might have a fucking hard on
This
right
guy's
now.
fucking losing his shit right now.
Oh, wow.
The same guy that says he's good, he's happy where he's at.
Yeah.
I-
Just happy smoking pot. My man bun.
He's gonna go start a fire so you can put it out. He's like, oh, I got something like a firefighter.
It's like if you hear of an apartment fire.
I agree that it's that it was even the mundane stuff that I remember now when I look back. Today, because we're on Instagram, apparently I'm still learning that. But today in Gilbert, I think there was a 3-4 car accident and like 15 or 18 people were injured. And I was looking at the scene and I
Which
found
probably
myself
required the entire
Gilbert
patrol,
Police Department. Yeah, they
to
were like,
show
shut
up
everything
and
down.
do everything. Yeah.
Turn
And
the
I-
city off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm watching
Basically.
and I'm looking and I find myself looking at the cars and I'm like, oh, that car was going this way. This car was
Yeah.
going that way.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't miss, because I don't know about you guys. This is going to sound shitty. I'm not degrading Matt or anything like that. But they, like, I hated accidents.
Yeah.
I fucking hated accidents. With everything I had, I hated accidents. But I missed it. I missed being out there. You know, I know what that's familiar to me.
Mm-hmm.
Going in,
Yeah.
getting everything set up, knowing where fire is going to be, taping things off, getting people taken care of. You had a certain control aspect.
Right. Yep.
Well, it was uncontrolled, and there was chaos.
Yeah,
and
it was
everything
being
was
in
screaming
It
and
was
stuff
being
like
in
that.
controlled chaos.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
And you're
I'm gonna bring peace to this
Mhm.
right now."
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and
Right
that's
now.
I think that's our PTSD brains. We all loved being in that controlled chaos, and now our brains loved that so much that now they are in this controlled chaos constantly. You know, like we're making it through the day with this chaos going on in our fucking heads
Mhm.
constantly.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
Why are you laughing over there?
He's got his firefighter on his finger.
Oh, yeah. That's hilarious.
Hello, Tony. That's little Tony. Little T.
We hello there.
Yeah, so we more than anything, that was like the biggest thing was I remembered as we started talking while we were burning those cigars, I could see that glimmer of hope again. He was happy, smiling, laughing, remembering the calls.
Mm-hmm.
That was tremendous. I don't know how people can say, you know, I wish I would have never done that when you see the excitement in their face.
Yeah, like and see how much fun we had. You know,
Right,
like
even through all of that
yeah, like
crap. Yeah.
like through all the shit, we had so much fucking fun.
and you said the big word in there, we.
Yeah,
We had fun. There's the camaraderie.
yeah.
Right.
And man, when you're pulled out of that, it's like, oh my gosh, I just lost like my brothers and sisters.
The unity, yeah,
Yeah.
it's that unity.
It's in
Well-
it's in the agony of it too. It's like, oh man, I hate all these
Well,
reports. I got to write a 6-hour report
Yeah.
right now.
But everyone's as miserable as
I
we
know.
are.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh man, that sucks. I know how you feel. And so yeah.
Yeah. Well, and we all shared that like togetherness, you know. And then when you're taken out of that, like Mark said, like you're just like, whoa, where do I go? And now I have this thing to deal with, you know, like, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really the watching him. You know, it for me it was hurtful because I could see how much he resented what the job had done to him,
Mm-hmm.
but I could also see how happy it made him.
Mm-hmm.
So how far into PTSD is he?
Oh, he's right in the fucking middle of it.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's
I was
right in the
And
gonna-
middle
that's
of
why,
it.
yeah, because
Yeah.
that makes
That's
a
a
big
phase,
difference.
isn't
Yeah,
it? Don't you feel
definitely
that's a
That
phase?
is-
That
Yeah, that
definitely
is a good
happened to me.
point.
I
That's a
hated
phase of it.
everything about
Yeah.
it.
Well, and
Me too.
that is a great point because then, and as I just was talking about earlier, I was talking to my mom earlier, and I had admitted that to her. I was like, Mom, I hated myself at one point so much, and I hated everything around me that now I finally allowed myself to love myself. You know, be okay to love myself again. So like that's the crazy thing. It's like we're filled with hate and so much hate at one point that we have to somehow get rid of it and get through that, you know, and if we don't, it turns into that lifelong
Right.
negativity, you know.
Well,
Or-
because you focus
or
on
worse.
you
Or worse,
focus
yeah.
on the negative.
Yeah.
He could only remember negative stuff.
Exactly.
That's exactly
Yep.
what I did. That's all I did
Yeah.
was all I thought of was all the shitty things that had ever happened. I didn't remember
And yeah.
anything good about my
A-
career. or
And you
anything.
guys sharing those stories brought that goodness
Right.
out
Right.
of it, you know. and
Well,
that's-
I got
that's
yeah,
what it
and I
was.
get a call. You know,
Yep.
the officer's like, we're going back and forth, and I'm like, dude, we didn't do all bad shit. Like that wasn't our job. Was just
Yeah.
always bad shit.
Yeah.
But I think when you're in the thick of things and you're in fight or flight, you only resonate that negativity.
Yeah.
Because that's what comes up on you.
Well, and that's
It
that
doesn't
flight.
want- you don't want it
yeah.
to, but that's what flares on you.
Well,
Right.
and that's what triggers that fight or flight.
Trigger.
You know,
And it's
feeling.
really difficult because, like we just did, you know, we start talking about all cool shit we did, the funny shit we did. You know, I spent more days having a good time than bad days having
yeah.
a bad time. You know,
For sure.
Used to live for that hot tone,
Mm-hmm.
right? I remember there were times where I'd be out taking my 15th shoplifting of the week, and I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, I can't do another one of these motherfuckers, right? And now I wish I was doing shopliftings, and that's one of the things that, like, I was hoping to convey. Like, those officers that are out there, I know Veronica and I talk a lot. A lot of officers follow us on Facebook. It's okay to miss the job, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know,
We
because
should.
there's no, think about that, right? When you're a little kid and you're playing cops and robbers or firefighters and you're doing exactly what you imagined.
Right.
You know, you got a squawk box right there. You can fucking go code 3.
Yeah. I don't know
chirps.
anybody that was playing accountant and Walmart and Walmart greeter.
Well, and that's the other
Welcome
side
to
of it.
Walmart.
No, that's the other side of it.
I'm
Is
just
like
kidding.
we're next to
no
like
offense to Walmart greeters.
like cops and firefighters are right next to like fucking professional sports players.
Right.
You know,
Hold on.
like
Fix your hands. Cops and firefighters. Pro Fort.
and you may proceed.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but that's the thing is like, I mean, it's crazy to think about, but we were there. Like that is the same echelon. We not the payment, obviously, but
Right.
but in the grand scheme of things, we were right there, and now we're out of that. So what do we do from here? It's the same fucking situation that the athletes go through. Do you know how many athletes go through? Well, because it's a little different, obviously, but they go through such a lull after their season and a depression because
People
of it.
in movie and music industry.
Yeah,
do the
same thing, same
'Cause
thing.
It's so euphoric.
It's
Big
such a
house,
crash.
So
It's-
euphoric.
yeah, it's such
Can you
a crash.
imagine a stadium
too.
of 50,000 people screaming for you,
and then
then
no one.
you got nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're getting emails and texts and shit all
Yeah.
day long, and then finally they just burp.
Yeah.
Done. Like,
Yeah.
how lonely would you feel? You know.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, and for those, like, I understand that they just cease to be relevant.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for us, I'm not, my son's in the music industry. I'm not saying it's a bad industry. I'm just saying their relevancy is different than ours.
Totally
It's-
different,
we're
for sure.
It's necessary
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
Right? How many times did you get to a call, Tony, where somebody's like, my baby's not breathing, fix the baby.
Yep.
You fix the baby.
Or the police officers.
Yeah,
handing me the
yeah.
Baby, because
Oh.
I'm like, this baby's not breathing.
It's
Do
like,
something, fire.
do something.
Yes.
Right.
Blue babes.
And that's the part of the job that I think that most people or most officers, when they retire, whether it's PTSD retirement, like, there's no other feeling of being needed
Yeah.
than being a first responder,
True.
right? Because what are deadlines? Somebody's like, can you get this done, Veronica, right now?
Yeah.
Because if not, then we're going to be in trouble.
Yeah. It's like, oh, the
Yeah.
world is gonna end.
What?
You know. It's
Veronica's like,
I
are
don't
you,
give
is
a
somebody
fuck.
going to die? No, nobody's going to die. What are you talking about? It's just a
Then we're dead.
spreadsheet.
Yeah.
It's
Then
just
we're
a closet.
dead. Yeah.
They'll hang it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, for me, that's the relevancy it's so important, because like Mark has said before in the past, like, people hurting people, who's going to correct that other than the police?
Yeah.
Right? And, you know, that firefighters used to get so pissed off when I'd show up at a car fire and then put it out with the extinguisher. They're like, what are you doing over there? You're not a firefighter. I'm like, I can do the same thing you can. Right? It's not a big deal.
What an idiot.
You didn't do anything great.
What an idiot.
I'd be like, dude, thank you so much.
Yeah. But in all reality, I would search for those fucking firefighters when there was like a fucking med call.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
they'd be like, baby's not breathing or car accident. I'm like, get fire in here right now.
You're like, fire's on the way,
No
right? Fire's on the
station
way, right?
fire. Yeah.
And God forbid it was a fire.
I need a
'Cause
diesel injection.
Yeah, polyester burns up really fucking fast. And I hated fires, man. All I could do, and then you guys would show up, and you're like, don't run over the hose. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Point the water that way, downrange. But that was, you know, ultimately, I wanted to have the discussion because I wanted to understand. I don't think the officer actually realized what he was saying.
Yeah. You don't. You
Yeah,
don't.
that
In
was the
in that
PTSD.
moment, yeah. You don't know what you're saying.
Right. And by him, you know, saying, I wish I would have never become a cop. I wish I would have never done these things. I think he's just speaking out of frustration and anger and
Hurt.
hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're being hurt by that.
Yeah.
You know, it took so much.
Yeah, I mean, like you think, I thought it ruined my life. Like in
Well,
that moment, my
that's-
life was completely ruined, and it was because of the job. So I hated everything about the job, and I even like so much so like I avoided my family members who were still cops. Like I just wanted nothing to do with anybody that was a police officer or in law enforcement because to me it ruined everything for me.
Well, yeah, no, and like coming from my standpoint, like I felt like everything that I had wanted to do for my whole entire life was
Right.
now ripped away from me. Like,
Right.
where the fuck do you go? Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
what do you do? You know? And that's what it was. I was just like, okay, so that was my identity. Now where am I?
Who am I?
Who the fuck am I? You know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I think, the eye-opening experience that I went through.
Did you ever find your identity even now?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's I think why I'm so thankful for it is because it took 5 years for me to understand who I am. You know, I'm glad that it happened. Not glad that those kids died, but I'm glad that the experience was given to me
Right.
to experience because I've used it positively. I think.
Yeah, same way. It's like I'm glad I went into that valley,
Yeah.
even though I questioned why me, you
Mhm.
know. And now I'm coming out of it, and it's like I can lead other people out of that thing,
Right.
so
Yeah.
they don't
Yeah.
stay in that misery.
I
Mhm.
think that's the cool thing is like I want to lead and almost help people
Yeah.
not fall into that
Right.
ditch.
So
you know?
do you, Mark answered it. Veronica, do you ever think, why me?
No, I don't think why me.
No.
No.
What about you, Tony?
Uh,
You ever think, why me? Why'd I hit that door?
Yeah, I mean I've it's definitely crossed my mind a couple times, like, you know, why did we have to be the first ones in, you know, when we were the second truck that pulled up, you know, that type of thing. But when you start to question those things, I think that's when the danger starts to set in. So yes, those questions have been in my head. But it's almost like that pathway that I was describing, you know, when I was talking about my Ferguson stuff. You can walk down a pathway and come to every stop sign and have something that says kill yourself every day.
Right.
But it's up to you to read the sign or just stay on your path.
And you know what's funny? I used to think, why not me? Why didn't I get that call?
Yeah, I can relate almost with that. It's like I was almost like, why didn't I die in that fire?
Right.
That was almost the question.
Or not even just die or get injured. Why not me? I would have done better.
Yeah.
Because we're kind of egotistical that way, right?
Yeah.
You show up, you're like, oh man, that motherfucker got he caught the case. He's gonna fuck it up.
Like
Why not me?
I could do that so much
Yeah.
better.
Right. So, anyways, I appreciate you guys coming, chopping it up.
Yeah.
I know I love doing these every Sunday. There's times where I come up and I'm like, fuck, what are we gonna talk about? But it's always a good time. It starts my week off correctly.
Right.
I will tell you that. If we didn't do this every Sunday, my Mondays would probably be a little more shittier.
We hope it's therapy for you because
Yeah.
it's therapy for all of us.
Yeah.
So you're watching a group therapy.
Yeah,
going on
it's
right
just
Yeah,
now.
group
you're
therapy.
you're
You're welcome.
you're just watching us throw up into these microphones. That's all it really is.
So, I know it's rough for Veronica with Cliff being on Sundays.
Old
That
Cliff.
would be the Cardinals.
That would be the Cardinals.
Right.
And but I do appreciate you guys coming out. I've gotten positive feedback from a lot of the subscribers, and I can't thank you guys enough for coming out. And again, as always, to us and those like us, and for all of us, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Thank you guys.
Love and peace.